name is Faith McLean, and I just want to thank you all for coming today. Especially as administrators and some of you teachers, how many of you feel like sometimes you're just being pulled in all different directions? Do you ever feel like you just can't catch a break? I'm sure there have been times in all of our lives, including myself, where we haven't been able to fully function because of all the expectations that we brought upon ourselves. As a head photographer in yearbook, an active member in my church, and an honor student, I've experienced this many times, and especially at the beginning of my senior year. Today I want to summarize an Aesop fable called The Boy and the Filberts. First we will discuss the fable, and then focus on my short story and how it relates to the overall lesson. And with this, I will explain my own experience and how this fable and the moral relates to my life on a personal level. In the Aesop fable, The Boy and the Filberts, the boy found himself hungry. He went to reach his hand into a pitcher of filberts. Oh, and filberts are hazelnuts, by the way. The boy grabbed as many filberts as possible so that his hand was barely able to grasp them. By doing so, he was unable to remove his hand. And a bystander walked by and he said, "If you would be able to be happy with half of those, you would be able to take your hand out." We're going to touch on how biting off more than you can chew can lead to collapse. Attempting to do too much at once can make one feel overwhelmed. And in the fable, the boy attempted to take too many filberts, and this caused him, as it says in the fable, to bitterly lament his disappointment. The boy's greed was his downfall, and according to the fable, unwilling to lose those filberts, and yet unable to withdraw his hand, the boy burst into tears and lamented his disappointment. A bystander said to him, "Be satisfied with half the quantity, and you will readily withdraw your hand." Next, I want to talk with you all about the time that I myself took on too much at once. As a senior in high school, the beginning of the year was quite overwhelming for me, though I tried not to show it. I committed myself to activities such as church functions, being the sports photographer, and staying ahead in my schoolwork. In the second week of my senior year, I could already feel the heat. I had decided over the summer that it was going to be my year. I wanted to become involved in all the clubs that I had been unsure of years prior. And I wanted to go to as many after-school activities as possible. Basically, my plan was to enjoy myself. As an active member of my church, and an honor student and the head photographer, I knew there would be a lot on my plate. I just did not fully think about it when I signed up for 3 core classes the first semester. 2 of them were English and pre-cal. I had pre-cal homework every night and English assignments every week. It was a lot to handle. It all hit me one evening when I had committed myself to take pictures at a JV football game at 5. And then I had to go and play guitar at my church service at 6. Then I had to be back at the varsity game to take more pictures at 7. And I did all of this while thinking about the 3-page paper and pre-cal homework I still had to do. I realized that I was more than this. I don't have to prove myself to anyone that I can fit everything in all in one day. It's not worth it to put yourself under that type of stress. And though it may not seem like a big deal to any of you, I didn't have my priorities straight. Just like in the fable, even if I had only committed myself to half the activities, I still would have been fine. I really hope that I helped you all to understand how taking on more than you can handle can lead to an overwhelming situation. I briefly summarized how the boy thought he was going to receive a good amount of filberts, but in the end, his way of thinking was detrimental to him, as he was unable to fulfill his wishes. This led him to great disappointment. And I have also explained to you all how my own experience went when I chose to commit myself to more than I can handle. In closing, I urge you all to take a step back and evaluate your lives. Are there times when those you love most in life do not feel like a priority? Or maybe do you feel overwhelmed the majority of the time? This is when you know that something in your life has got to give. Life is too short, as we all know, to stay busy all the time. Renew your mind, decompress. Show others that you are aware of more than just your busy schedule. Because hey, it's your life. You just have to live it. Thank you all for coming today.